This morning we meet Nicodemus in our text. Nicodemus is not a very Jewish name. It's not from the Hebrew, although he is a very important Jewish man of his day. So Nicodemus has a Greek name. Does anybody know what the word Nike, like the tennis shoes? You know that word, N-I-K-E? That's related to the word Nika in his name. Anybody know what that little swish and the Nike stands for?
Victory.
Victory, right? Victory. And so Nicodemus means victory of Demos, D-E-M-O. Sounds like a word we really care about in the United States of America. We are very proud that we are a democracy. Demos is the common people. So Nicodemus means victory of the common people. Isn't that a fantastic name? Right? Victory of the common people. It's such a good name. It's such a good entry point for the common person who wants to get to know Jesus. Nicodemus offers us access to interacting with Jesus in a particular way. Nicodemus meets Jesus, well, that's not true. Let me back up. Nicodemus is discussed. We hear the story of Nicodemus at 3 points in John's Gospel. Today is the only time that we see him interacting with Jesus. The next time we meet him in John's Gospel, he will be advocating for just process in the Sanhedrin. As I mentioned, his name is Victory of the Common People, but he's not much of a common person. He is an important religious leader. He's one of 71 upstanding, faithful Jewish men, scholars in the law, who gather every day, except for the Sabbath and festival days, every day, 6 days a week, to make decisions that are really important for the whole community around Jerusalem. So even though his name is Victory of the Common People, he's pretty elite. He's a scholar. He's judge and jury with these 70 other men in the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin gets together and makes decisions about things like when it's time to put new Torah scrolls in the temple, big decision, very expensive thing to order. They make decisions about who's responsible when there are disputes among family members in the home and between neighbors. And if a body is found, they are the group that makes a decision about what must be done and if somebody must be held responsible for a death. It's really a lot of work. So Nicodemus perhaps is so busy with his work in the Sanhedrin that he doesn't get to go out and listen to this new teacher healer that he's heard about named Jesus. He's so busy working 6 days a week in the Sanhedrin that he doesn't have access to Jesus. And he's busy serving the common people, the community. So perhaps that's why he goes late at night, after the Sanhedrin offices close for the day, he heads over to meet Jesus. Perhaps because he works so much. Or perhaps he doesn't want the other members of the Sanhedrin to know that he's so curious about this person a little bit on the edge. We know that the religious leaders become very concerned about Jesus' power, the way that he can heal and draw huge crowds of people together. He is restoring lives. He is repairing people where they are broken, and this is making some of the leaders nervous. The next time we hear about Nicodemus in John's Gospel, he is reminding that group of people that they have to adhere to that due process. They want to bring some accusations against Jesus, and he reminds them that they have to hear from Jesus himself. This is John chapter 7, and we know in John chapter 7 that Nicodemus, who had already gone to meet Jesus before in our text today, and who was one of the Sanhedrin, asks the members of the Sanhedrin this: "Our law does not judge people without first giving them a hearing to find out what they are doing, does it?" Very rhetorical. Does it? Right? They know the answer. They have a process. So we know that he is somebody who stands up. He's got enough power, and he's highly revered. He stands up among his peers to advocate for justice, for Jesus. The next time we meet him, in John's Gospel, he appears after Jesus has been crucified. He appears after Jesus has been killed, and we know his role in trying to have a just process around that. We don't know how he's feeling about all of that, but we do know that he shows up. He shows up, and along with Joseph of Arimathea, he takes care of Jesus' body for burial. In fact, he brings an incredible amount, over 100 pounds of myrrh and aloes for the body of Jesus. That is not a usual amount. That is so much myrrh and aloe that I imagine all of Jerusalem could smell his generosity, that they would all know something had been unleashed in Jerusalem. So I imagine this Nicodemus, named for victory of the common people, to be a revered scholar, community leader, someone who's trustworthy and well-respected, with a mind for justice, a willingness to stand up for it, also compassionate, empathetic, willing to handle Jesus' crucified body, and incredibly generous, giving all of that myrrh and aloe. In this moment where we first meet him, we meet him as someone who is eager to meet Jesus and know about this salvation that Jesus is teaching and preaching about. He wants to know more about this rebirth, this way of being remade, refashioned, recreated, repaired. And so we see a religious leader, someone who knows the law and is willing to stand up for it, a religious leader who is searching to know, how do I get that thing you're talking about? Can you hear that in him? How could I be reborn? What am I supposed to be born again from my mother? We can hear the longing in Nicodemus for that very thing, to be born again, to have a fresh start, to be repaired and restored. He is searching. And we learn in this text that as eager as we are to be the one that acts, that has the salvific action in life, it comes from God as a gift. It's not something we earn, no matter how eager we are. It's something we open to and receive like the gift it is. For God so loved the world. Not for Nicodemus so wanted to be saved, but for God so loved the world that he came to live among us, to offer us repair and rebirth. Now, this is the season of Lent. It's the season of repair. It is the season of rebirth. It's a season in which many of us are very eager to take those broken places of our lives and to bring them to Jesus. Is it not? Some of us are more eager than others to do that. Some of us come quite willingly to church today, eager to learn, what can I do to gain the salvation promised to me by God? What can I do? I am missing a button. My all needs I put it in the pocket. My all needs a little repair. Have you noticed that? Has anybody noticed that my all needs a little repair? My friends, today's the day. Today is the day to look at yourself and repair the places that are not totally open to receive the gift. And so I'm going to repair my all this morning. I'm going to pick some thread. What color? Should I stick with white? Probably. Okay. Purple is the color of Lent, right? Should I stick with white, though? Oh, look, a pre-threaded needle. You know, that's kind of a theological truth. tangled free. Let's just go like this. All right, there we go. We got it untangled. The way that God repairs us is already set up for us, right? We simply must locate that portion of our lives that requires repair. And so as I repair my all, I invite you in absolute silence, close your eyes if you want to open those places in your life that need some repair and restoration, that need to be reborn and recreated by that gift of God. And then I will close the sermon. Just open your heart. Friends, none of us knows how long we have in this life. Every day is a complete gift. With that gift that we receive each day, we also have the gift of God's salvation. Let us open our hearts to receiving it completely, knowing it is God's mercy and love that always, every day, is acting to save us. Amen.